Well, anybody who has ever struggled with infertility would know what a pit of despair that can be after years and years and years of trying. And after my husband and I had tried a number of different avenues, we really saw Lutheran sort of as a beacon of hope. It was the first place we had gone where we felt truly supported. We had tried several times private adoptions and had been trying to coordinate all of those moving pieces ourselves. And when we talked to our Lutheran person, it was so reassuring to know that someone was going to be helping us move through that process as soon as we decided on adoption. What has Lutheran meant to us? That's actually a hard question to even answer, because when you think about building a family and what that means, and you think about the agency that was there when you were so sad and uncertain that you would ever be a mom, then you think about the people, the agency. They were there when we met our first son, Colin, when he was 6 hours old in the hospital. They were there when we met our second son, Bennett, when he was 5 months old. So that's pretty cool. I don't think even most obstetricians would have that opportunity, to be there throughout that entire life cycle. Our oldest son, Colin, will be 12 on his next birthday. And Lutheran has continued to provide us support and help. We don't think about adoption every day. Our kids are our kids. Yes, they're our children, but the adoption is part of their story, and we think that it's really important to acknowledge, celebrate, and honestly sometimes continue to talk through what that means.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm honored to be part of the team at Lutheran Family, and they do an incredible job, and we're just a small part of that. The reason that I got involved is over a lunch with Janine. She had expressed us that there was a need for foster parents in the Columbia office, and I have a strong belief in the value of human life from conception to death, and this was a tangible way for me to do something tangible to support birth moms and these babies in our community. And so we looked into that and became foster parents about 9 years ago. I just have such respect for the birth moms and the birth dads and the decision that they're making to either parent their child or give that child to an adoptive family. And we're able to just fill the gap from the time the baby is born till it goes to the adoptive family and give them space for making that decision and all of the things that have to be done with paperwork to get them to that point. So we have 3 children of our own, and it's a way that we can serve as a family, serve alongside one another, pass that value on to our children. And I'm still just in awe every time that we go through the adoption process with a family of God's hand in it, how he joins that family who has chosen to give life to that baby to the adoptive family that he's called to parent that child. And what kept running through my head as I was thinking about this question is the scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, where God says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." And that's what the families here at Lutheran and the workers are doing for these children.
My relationship with Andrea started when I was about 4 months pregnant, I believe. And it was terrifying where I was at that point. I was pregnant. It was my freshman year of college. So I was just starting out, and I didn't know what I was going to do, what I had in terms of resources to help me be able to finish college and afford having a baby. And Andrea was just there for me to talk to and vent with all of the frustrations and helped me figure out what exactly it was that I needed to do to be able to continue going to college, afford daycare, afford all of the diapers, and be able to be a good mom to my son. So after I had Shane, she was actually one of my first visitors. So she was one of the first people to get to meet Shane. And I mean, she always just seemed to really care about me, about my son, about what we were going through. She continued to be there if I had questions on different resources. She was just, I don't know that I could have asked for anyone better. I know that if I needed to talk to her again, I could. I am a year out from graduating from college.
When I came to Lutheran, I was 6 months pregnant, and I was very scared, and I didn't know exactly what route I was going to be taking, whether that be parenting or adoption. And adoption was only a word to me at the time. I didn't know that there were all these sectors of adoption. You can have closed, semi-open, open, visits, so on and so forth. So Lutheran really helped to educate me in all of those options and make me aware of the whole spectrum so I could make the biggest decision of my life. What I wanted for my son, and that was the ultimate goal here, was to give my son everything in the world and two loving parents that I couldn't provide at that time myself. So when I finally found Will's parents, it was such a relief and such a peace of mind. Lutheran allowed me to feel every emotion and never stray away from anything. They let me know that it's okay to be sad and you need to grieve.
When Paul and I first considered domestic adoption, we were very hesitant about openness. And the first thing Lutheran did for us was educate us about what openness means. And there really is a spectrum of openness, from simply exchanging names to having frequent visits, which is what we have with Annie now. Then the second thing Lutheran did, which was extremely helpful, was once we were comfortable with the idea of openness, there was a tendency on our part to want to rush in and share everything about ourselves and our lives with this woman who was about to give us the most incredible gift of a lifetime. And it's interesting, we have friends periodically that will say, "Oh, I didn't realize you were still in touch," or "How much longer do you plan to be in touch?" The rest of our lives, assuming that, it continues to be the best thing for Will. This is a lifelong relationship, and Lutheran allowed us to grow it in that way so that it would last that long.
Well, after probably trying to conceive for several years and kind of going through that process, we just got to a point where we just felt like, maybe it's not meant for us to necessarily have a baby in that fashion. And so I had, talked to a few people in the past who had previously adopted, and we had several discussions about it, and I just, we decided, why not? Why not? We knew all along that we would be parents. We just, had to figure out how we were going to be parents.
Right. What's it like being Liam's mom?
Liam is, you know what, I now get why every parent thinks that their kid is the greatest kid on earth. I get it now, because my kid is the greatest kid on earth. His persona, his attitude is a lot like he's our child. And he acts like his father in a lot of ways. He acts like me in a lot of ways. He has a joyous laugh when he looks at you, and these thick eyebrows and these big eyes and all these teeth that he has in his mouth, when he gives you the biggest smile and the biggest hug. It just makes your day, complete. Every day is always something new with him. Every day, no matter what you're going through, it's just a treat being his mom. It's just a treat being his mom. So I knew he was meant to be ours from the moment that we laid eyes on him, from the moment I held him in my arms and he looked at me. I knew I was going to be his mother forever.
Can you girls talk to us a little bit about what's it like being part of a foster family who takes care of babies for Lutheran?
Well, I think I was thinking about this and thinking about when we started, and at the time I was in 7th grade and just really worried about what that was going to do to our family. Like, we're the 5 Strongs, there's 5 of us, we're great the way we are. I don't really want things to change. And just going through the process and being able to be a part of so many stories, it's just been so awesome to see what the adoption process is like and what it's like to be there for these babies before they can be adopted, and meeting those adopted parents who have waited so long, and at the same time meeting those birth parents who are so selfless to realize that they can't give the child the life that they think the child deserves, which is just incredible. I don't know, it's so cool to be a part of it.
I've seen your family grow up, literally, in many ways. Do you guys love that entrustment ceremony? Is that fun for you?
Yeah, oh gosh, that's sometimes the first time that we get to meet the birth mom or the adopted parents, and just, I don't know, the emotions that are part of it. I always cry. You are physically handing the baby over, and I don't know, it's so cool. It's like a physical moment where this is symbolizing what's happening.
Absolutely.
They're part of our family, and then realizing that we're just kind of a stepping stone before they can move on to their forever family. And that's, I don't know, it was hard at first, but just learning that place has just made it so worth it. Mm-hmm.
What's it been like watching your mom really care for these babies?
I think it's cool, she's just incredible with children in general, and especially with babies. And there was one night that I tried to stay up with her. I was like, I'm going to stay up with you and get up when the baby gets up. And we went to bed at 9, and I went to my room at 11 because I was like, I can't do this. It's hard. And
we've all tried that.
Yeah. And she does it every night that we have babies, and is so willing to keep, to do it more and more. And it's cool because we know she did that with us. And so that's kind of special to see her doing it now. And she's just incredible at it. And it's awesome. It's awesome to see her.
Lutheran families helped me to see the potential that I have today, and helped me to build my confidence. And they were a big support for me, and taught me not to settle for less, and showed me the greater things in life. The mentor helped me to have a friend, have someone that I could rely on and talk to. If there was something that I was going through with my children, they helped me look up information and got me in the right direction.
What was it like mentoring a teen mom through Lutheran?
It was an extremely awesome experience, primarily just to meet such wonderful young women. They may have been younger to be having children, but they were awesome, and they were strong and very intelligent, and had a lot of ideas of things that they wanted to do. And the fact that they were even a part of this program said a lot about what they wanted for themselves and for their children. And so being there, just being able to see that was awesome for me. But I was also glad that I could share whatever insight that I could share, or guidance. Primarily my role was just to be that friend, to be supportive, to help talk through any problems or not problems, but more so just to be friends and build relationship with them, and also to help them co-parent with fathers, because Charisma and I, we were a match, but I also was able to help some of the other young mothers as well. So it was just an an awesome experience. I enjoyed it. I felt like the relationship that we built, like the reason why it's been able to last, because we were able to connect on so many levels. And we call each other sisters today. We don't even say, friend anymore. It's like, this is sister. My son calls her auntie, and her kids do the same for me. So it's awesome. It's been an awesome experience, but she's amazing. Really, it's because she's amazing.
When I found out that I was going to be adopting my son, I had a little over a month preparation notice. So Lutheran Family and Children's Services was with me through every step of the way. Janine especially, I could call her day, night, didn't matter. She wasn't just a 9-to-5 helper. She was there for me throughout everything. I can't express how happy I am with Lutheran Family and Children's Services. I don't think I would have my son if it wasn't for them. There were a few bumps. This was not an easy process. And there were days that I was really worried that it just wasn't going to work out in my favor, or it was going to be too hard. But Janine was there with me, like I said, every step of the way, telling me I could do this, we'll get through it. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and she was right. I am a single mother to a 3.5-year-old crazy little boy named Tristan, and he is the best thing that's ever happened to me. He is 110% boy. He is the man of the house, and he will let you know he's the man of the house, but he is just the light of my life. I can't imagine a day without him. I really think he was put on this earth to be my son.
We picked Lutheran because when we went to the first open house, the staff made my husband and I feel wonderful. They were welcoming, they were inviting, they answered all of our questions, and just made us realize that building a family through adoption was something we could do. It's a dream that we could see happening, that we could do it. They helped us every step of the way. Answered all the questions. In the end, when we got the phone call, it was just, it was a blessing. And even 11 years later, we still can call, anytime with any question. We're still included. We still get invited to be part of events and to take part in activities. And that means something to us, to still be included. And it's not just the adoption's done, so go live your life. We're still included and we're still a part of it, and that's very important to us. When we got the phone call, I was actually on the interstate going to the airport. My husband was out of town at a convention, and we got the call and that we were going to get a little baby boy. And I was so excited, but I was in the middle of 4 lanes of traffic in the city, and I had to pull over and call back, and it was just overwhelming. We were so excited but nervous because it was here, and it was like, we don't have a crib, we don't have a blanket, we didn't have anything, but it didn't matter. We can get all that stuff at the store. We just knew that it was here. We were going to have our family, and it was just the most exciting day. It was the most wonderful thing ever.
So Lutheran Family and Children's Service helped us with the placement of both of our children. Both of their adoptions were different, and we were unsure in both of them. And with the social workers' help, they guided us, comforted us, supported us through our decisions, and made it a very smooth transition. And because of them, I am a mom of 2 beautiful children.
And how old are your kids now, Jenny?
My kids are 4 and 8.
We actually chose for both of our adoptions to use an out-of-state agency. We had a family member that had used an agency, so that was the thing that we did as well. But we went with Lutheran here locally to go through our home study, and Janine was a wonderful person. She led us through the process. So Lutheran fulfilled the need on a local level and provided lots of guidance. It was quite bumpy, certainly more with our second adoption than our first. Our first went very fast. Our second was very long and slow, and I had to fulfill a different role. So Janine at Lutheran helped us to maintain some sanity through that. And at the end, we too have a family with 2 kiddos. We have a almost 9-year-old son, or 8.5-year-old son, and a daughter that just turned 3.
I am giving back to Lutheran by being on the advisory board.
But there will forever be a piece in my heart for Lutheran and for Janine in particular. And when we had our second adoption finalized, I said, "Can I be on the board, please? What can I do?" So it's just a way for me to give back. I feel like without Lutheran, we wouldn't have the 2 kids that we have.